Hello, Book Club, hosted by Heather Skinner. Your votes for the quote, the greatest power one can possess doesn't come from light or darkness, but from a place of love. Chose the book Charisse Tarren and the Black Pendant by Iuliana Foos as our May 2022 read and feature. Yes, there's her beautiful cover. I love that. Today's interview is going to post in 2 parts, so please make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell while you're watching so that you'll be alerted right when part 2 posts next week. Iuliana, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. This is very exciting. I've been looking forward to this. I mean, I first asked you about, how do I get to do an interview with you sometime like last year, I think it was. And we waited patiently in line, and
You
yes.
have been very patient, and I really appreciate it because my waiting list kind of built up like that over the year. And I mean, some people, when I contacted them again, they're like, "Who are you again?" Like they forgot. It's been so long. They're like, I don't even know who you are. Why are you contacting me? Oh, yeah, that's right. I guess we did talk before.
And that's good. That means people, want to be on, and other people listen to it, and it's a good thing.
It
It's a
is a
very
very
good thing.
good thing. Yeah. And I mean, I love these interviews. I love watching them too. I've seen a couple of your amazing interviews before this too. So I've been really excited to talk to you too.
This much of you in the interviews, that much.
Yeah, I think you watched some of her with Tina Hogan Grant, actually. Yeah, you saw that interview a little bit.
Yeah, I saw like weep.
So Gemma actually you have a question for her today too, right? Do you mind holding up your beautiful book cover again? Because her question is about your cover. So when she first looked at your cover, she was in awe. She was like, "Oh, what'd you say?" You went, "Oh,
who is that?
Who is that?" So that's your question today.
That is Charisse Tarren. She's the main character in this book. And this is book, well, it used to be book number 1. The series supposed to only have 5 books, and she was book number 1. But after we finished publishing the whole series, my publisher came up to me with the idea of writing a freebie. So, like a reader magnet. And we squeezed our brains and tried to come up with something. And I go, okay, well, I'll just go back one more generation. And that's how I wrote the freebie, which according to Amazon has to be book 1 to be put first. If you just say prequel, it doesn't show it with the rest of the series. So the whole number of each book's number got changed since we put the freebie first as a prequel, and that became book number 1, and Charisse became number 2, and Kalina number 3, and so on. But yes, this is Charisse, and she's got silver white hair. See, and that's important. That's a very important detail into the series.
Ooh, okay. I love that.
Because if you look at the freebie, at the prequel, it's Karanabaro and the legacy mark. That's very important because that's the sign of the legacy, the hair.
Oh, neat. Oh, I like that. That's really fun to go into it with.
You'll be reading Charisse's book, you will find out why that silver hair, it's a mark in their family.
Oh, see, I think she was very excited because usually on books that like I'm reading, she's used to her picture books having a full character on front, but usually books I read, like they don't, which I never made that connection before until I saw her reaction. So it made me wonder too. So seeing now, knowing that the hair and everything is a very important detail too. So did you go right into, you must have known exactly what your character looks like, and or did she develop it all while she was being put on your cover?
Well, no, it's a long story about this series, because this series actually started with what is now known as book number 4, Adania, Tebeteus, and the Dark Mask. Originally, this was part of a Twisted Fairy Tales collection. So this is, if you look at the name, Adania Tebeteus, that's an anagram for Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, that's
So
so
this
cool.
is a twist of Beauty and the Beast, a space opera, clean romance, Beauty and the Beast.
You love Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And my publisher, which God, I love her so much. She read it. She was right away, okay, we're publishing it. But she goes, I love your supporting characters. Can you do some spin-offs off of it? Sure, I can. So then I planned the 5-book series, and I published them in the order. So now it's like book 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, and then the prequel, book 1, was published last.
That's really fun. I love that, to see how that developed.
Yeah, so can you tell that I'm a big Star Wars fan?
Oh,
We
yeah,
started
we're
with
going
a
to talk to
middle.
you about that more later, too. I'm excited about that as
Yeah,
well. So
because-
actually, how about we're going to dive into some more questions. Do you want to say thank you? That was an
Thank
awesome
you.
answer to your question.
Thank you for your question, Gemma.
All right. So before we get to the member questions, we've got some awesome member questions that came in. I was hoping that you would just go ahead and kind of give us a brief description of the book of yours that we're featuring in our book club this month. So Charisse Tarren and the Black Pendant.
Okay, Charisse Tarren and the Black Pendant. Oh, and I love this cover. I keep showing it. Okay, I cannot help it. This whole series is actually Star Wars inspired. I'm a huge nerd. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I played the online game Star Wars, The Old Republic. And in that game, actually, all the action takes place about 6,000 years before what we know of the movies. So at that time, there were as many Sith as there were Jedi. There weren't just the two, the master and the apprentice. There were tons of them. So that's the base for the game that I played. But of course, ever since I was a little girl, I never liked the books I read, and I tried to change them, and I tried to change storylines and names and locations and everything. So I've been fan fictioning in my head ever since I started reading. So I've done the same and came up with this series. So Charisse is a master Templar, which to translate is like a master Jedi. She's an energy user, which again, to explain what the energy use is, think of the Force. That's pretty much what's it. And her love interest, Draxon, he's a Dark Lord, which is basically a Sith.
That is so cool. That is something I was going to ask you more about later too. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I think I started mentioning in the beginning here, I've watched you on a couple other interviews with Stephanie Nietzsche and Tina Hogan Grant. Those are both amazing interviews, and I'm going to do my best. I think I can actually put the link at the end of this one. So when members are done watching this, they can click over and check those out too, so they don't miss any of your awesome information. And I remember you saying in one of them that you played that Star Wars game and kind of had that fan fiction going on. And my husband, I think that's the one he played. He loves Star Wars too. And he loves video gaming. And he had wanted me to ask you which of the Star Wars games you were writing fan fiction on. And if it was something that helped you generate ideas for the series that we're reading now. So that's perfect.
Yes, it's Star Wars, The Old Republic. And I did write in, I believe it was 2012 when I started writing fan fiction. And I have on fanfiction.net, I have 2 stories posted. Each of the stories have about 47, 48, 49 chapters each. And each chapter is over 5,000 words. So the collective work on fan fiction is over 550,000 words.
Wow. Oh, I want to check that out.
It's badly written. Trust me, that was my first attempt at writing in English. Obviously, English is not my first language. And for me, that was a challenge. sometimes I'm still flipping a coin if I should put the comma there or not, but we'll see which side of the coin I get.
I think I've heard the advice with that is when in doubt, leave the comma out. I think that's what I've heard.
Yeah, but then you get that stuff. I like cooking my family and pets, so yeah. You might want to put the comma there.
Good point. Good point. So each one's a different scenario. Never mind that advice I just tried to give you.
But yeah, that's how I started actually practicing my writing, was in fan fiction. Was, like I said, bad writing, head hopping, didn't have a notion of anything. And but that's how I've learned. And I've learned to keep the things going, keep the tension going. I was posting 1 or 2 chapters a week. So I kept it going for like over 2 years.
Wow. Do you still write fan fiction now that you've used that as kind of like your learning base?
Not anymore. No, I get plenty of original ideas.
And that was something too I love. So how many different languages do you speak? Because it sounds like there's actually a lot that you've learned how to speak.
Okay, I've learned how to speak 4, but I currently only speak 2. So English and Romanian. I was born and raised in Bucharest, Romania. So that remains my first language. I still speak it when I speak to my parents. They don't speak English, even though they live in Toronto with my sister. With my sister, we talk a mixture of English and Romanian because some words are not translating right from one language to another. So we will start a sentence in Romanian and finish it in English, or the other way around. So if you don't know both languages, you're kind of lost because you don't know what we were saying. It's fun. It's very fun.
That is fun. Oh, I love that. Do you plan on translating your books into all the languages that you speak too, so that like you have different readerships?
Not as of no, not yet. Unless I get that, well known and the demand it's gonna be there for it, then yes, I would. But for now, I would be grateful for like English speaking people to read my books, which I'm finding very hard. But when I immigrated so in Romania, I was in school, I've learned Spanish. We were part of the first generation where they experimented with introducing a foreign language study on 2nd grade. So I was like 7 years old when I started to learn Spanish, and we've learned all throughout until we finished high school. So when I was 18, 19 years old, I was fluent in Spanish, but didn't use it. So I've lost it. I can still understand some if people are not speaking it very fast. And it's more the Spanish that's spoken in Spain that I've learned at the time. And then when we immigrated from Romania, I had to learn French. And I've learned French in 4 months, enough French to have a conversation with the Canadian consul in Bucharest, and pass the language interview.
Oh, wow.
French, Spanish, Italian, and Romanian, they're all Latin. Like if you know one of them, you can understand the others.
That's pretty cool. Just enough similarity.
There are a lot of similarities between them, so it was very easy for me to learn those 2 other languages. I can still understand. Again, there have been 25 years since I immigrated, so and here I don't really speak French with anyone, but I can still understand. If I hear someone speaking French, I understand. I might answer in English because the words don't come to me anymore. But I understand what they ask at least. Or if they swear at me.
Oh. Oh no. Oh.
Spanish and French, I still understand. I'm not speaking them anymore because I forgot how to. Probably with a refresher course or something, I could get back into it, no problem. But yeah, I can still understand them, but not speaking so much. Romanian and English, I speak them pretty currently. So again, once a week with my parents and English every day with my husband, with everyone.
Do you have a favorite language of all the ones you have learned? Because I know, like, I'm homeschooling my daughter, and it's just so funny now when I sit back and think about it. I'm teaching her all these English concepts, and I'm like, I find myself many times saying, this is the rule, but these are all the things that break the rule. And then here's another rule that makes absolutely no sense because most of the things don't follow this rule. So I feel like English might not be your answer. I'm actually kind of curious if you have a favorite.
No, I don't have a favorite. And if I'm really honestly thinking about it, Romanian, French, Spanish, you will notice they actually have a more complicated grammar. They do have rules, so they follow the rules a little better than English, although all languages have exceptions. But for instance, in English, you have, a book. This book, it's beautiful, right? So it doesn't matter if it's masculine or feminine, if it's singular or plural, you'll say it pretty much the same way. In those Latin languages, in Romanian, you have a way to saying it if it's feminine, if it's masculine, if it's singular, if it's plural, if it's he or she, if it's us or you as a plural or as a singular. So they have different forms. The adjectives, they gotta be correlated to the subject in gender, number, and all that. And even the adverbs for the verbs, the same thing. They get like conjugated.
Gotcha.
So that is a little more, more complicated, I would say, because you got to figure out each word, what it is. Is it feminine? Is it masculine? Or is it neutral gender? So, and then you use the right form for of the adjectives or anything else for that. Even the numerals are feminine and masculine.
Oh, wow.
I'd say, one book and one chair, you would have different because one is feminine and the other one's masculine.
Wow. Okay. So I guess every language kind of has its thing.
So from that aspect, there's more complexity in these languages, but they have less exceptions than English. What makes English harder to learn, and you will hear everybody learning English, what's the main problem with English is the lack of following a rule. Everything is an exception. There is a rule, but it only applies to 2 words. The rest 550, they're exceptions. Oh, great.
Exactly. Yeah. All these silent letters and, irregular verbs. And my poor daughter, like, she started putting ED at the end of everything. I'm like, well, it doesn't work for that one either. But no, it doesn't work for that one either. Nope. Sorry, not that one either. But it's a rule, I swear. Like, it does happen. Oh, I love it. So I wanted to get to some member questions. So this one, Sharon, she has about 3 questions in a row here that I think go together. So I'm going to fire them all at you at once, and then kind of it might be a good time to have your other books handy, because I think we're going to look through and see all of your published works. So she wants to know, is the book that we're featuring in the book club part of a series? Can it be read as a standalone? And do you know how many there will be in the series total if it isn't a complete series already? So I think this would be a really good time to just kind of show us everything that you've got published and kind of give us a brief overview of what connects and everything.
Okay, I'll start with this series that we're discussing. So the one we reading in the book of the month is Charisse Tarren, and she is book number 2 in the series, but that only because book number 1, it's a prequel, but Amazon wouldn't allow it to be just a prequel and keep this as book 1, so we had to change the numbers. The series has 6 books, and yes, it is complete. All 6 books. I'm gonna try to show them to you. Well, 3 at a time at least.
Okay.
So this is the prequel, Karana. Right, I gotta put them straight in front of me. So it's Corona Barrow and the Legacy Mark. This is the prequel. So this is, let's call it first generation. Then we move into second generation, Charisse and Kalina. They are the second generation. Each of those books focuses on one member of the family, and the family is the Sabertooth family, how it came to exist, how they got in there, and what they're doing. The last 3 books in the series is Adania Sabertooth and the Dark Mask. Forgot my own title, but that's great.
It's a good sign. It means you've got a lot of them. You've been busy.
So this is the twist of Beauty and the Beast. And she's responsible for the names of these books in this series, because Adania Sabertooth is an anagram for Beauty and the Beast. It used to be part of a collection of twisted fairy tales. So then I had to continue with these names and this type of title. So that's why all these books in this series are like this. So that was Adania. Then it's her twin brother, Tane Sabertooth, and the Chasing Dreams. And if you look really closely at Tane, what do you see?
Oh, that hair.
The silver hair. That's right. And the last book in the series is Radha's Harriet and the Lost Daughter. And according to readers, this is the sexiest guy in the series. And I write clean romance. So, I mean, there's a lot of tension. You will know exactly what's going on, but I'm closing the door on the explicit scenes, which is why the whole series is rated 14+. So teenagers can read it, no problem. They're probably no more than us anyway.
So my daughter is 6 and she loves Star Wars and she loves books read to her, even if they're chapter books. She doesn't need the pictures in them. So what do you think? Is it like, we know it's clean romance. Is it like kind of violent in any parts like Star Wars can get sometimes, but no? Even that doesn't really get too violent.
They are fight scenes, but I don't do gory and all that stuff that would throw the rating out the window. And there's no swearing in my books either. They might say, damn it, here and there, or what in the stars, or go to hell. But that is like the worst that you're gonna get in any of my books. I generally don't swear, not even in my everyday life, very little swearing. So I guess it's just, I carry that on.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love books like that I could sit down and like we'll do that at nighttime sometimes before bed. Like take a book that I can read to the whole family and my husband's listening across the way, you know, my daughter can listen. Like I feel like this could be a series we could do that with.
Yes, you could, but I would suggest you read it first and judge for yourself if you would need to skip any, but I really don't think so. I mean, if she saw Star Wars, there's nothing any worse than that in the books. And this is one of the series that I have published. I have another series published. If you want, I can touch on that too, or leave it.
Yes, please. I would love to see that other series.
My debut series, the Bloodline series, is Bloodline Origins, Bloodline Destinies, and Bloodline Revelations. Now, I don't know if you see those covers very well. If you see in the Origins, is a blood drop.
Yes.
That falls. In Destinies, that drop hits the water and makes a splash. And in Revelations, are the ripples going through.
Yes, that's beautiful. All of your covers, both of your series are just so gorgeous. There's something about the colors and the textures. It all stands out so much to me. They're gorgeous.
Thank you. I had a great artist designer, is Ren Taylor, that actually worked with my first publisher. And then we got to know each other because we worked very closely into making those first covers, and then we worked together for the second series too, and that was such an adventure, just finding and hunting for images that we could actually make them look a little science fiction-y, you know. And the Bloodline series is paranormal sweet romance with science fiction elements. It's alien-made vampires.
That is such a cool combination. Like, you don't see those together often, and that's so original and fun. I'm very interested to read that series as well. I'm loving your work already, so I can't wait to just devour as much of it as I can because it's just so good. Sharon actually has another question for you. She's wondering what genre you write in, and I know you've mentioned a couple genres already. And I've even noticed from you have some awesome reviews on Amazon, by the way. I loved reading through so many great ones. And a lot of people classify your books in the reviews as a space opera or a romance with sci-fi elements. And I was just curious, like you mentioned the clean romance. So how do you categorize your books? Because it sounds like there's a lot that makes them up.
Easy, out of the box, like, you know, the box, I like smash it down, burn it, and spread the ashes. I like to mix genres. My mind works in such a way that I cannot stay in one genre. I have to mix them up. And my first ever attempt to write, it was contemporary. And I felt miserably to it. I felt so, I don't know, like I couldn't breathe. It was so suffocating and so restrictive for me because I couldn't have my characters do what I wanted them to do. Like I wanted them to have supernatural powers. I wanted them to fly from one world to another. I wanted them to do all kinds of cool things. And you cannot do that as a mere human on Earth. So why they're qualified or categorized as science fiction is because the action in those books doesn't take place on Earth. There are all kinds of other worlds. I like to make up my worlds. I like to make up the rules because I don't like to follow them, the ones that are in place. So I always write stuff that's not earthly, let's say. So that's what makes them science fiction. Now, there is no sciencey information in them pretty much at all. Like I'm telling you, a character gets into a ship and they fly from this planet to the next one. I'm not gonna tell you what kind of engine the ship has, what it powers it, how many people they were to make it work, and what the parameters are, or any of that. If somebody fires a bullet, that's it. The bullet goes, hits, and the person is dead. I'm not gonna start telling you the velocity and the direction and how did the fire and all that. No. So for those who hold back in reading these books because they're categorized as science fiction, and not many women actually will try science fiction. I've learned that the hard way. Don't be afraid. They're not boring sciencey stuff, which, to be honest, men, that's what they want. So I had a couple of low ratings on Karana because she's free. And I'm assuming men picked it up because it was under science fiction and it wasn't sciencey enough, was more fictiony than sciencey. You know, think the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek, right? Star Wars is the fantasy world, it's all the adventure. Star Trek is more sciencey stuff. They tell you how things work, they show you how they operate things and so on. So that's the difference. Mines are like way out there in the world.
Got it. That is really cool. I think even for readers, you know, people who like sci-fi and pick it up and want more technical, you'd think that they would have fun too, because readers, we picture so much in our own heads anyway, that if they really want the answer to the question, they can kind of almost picture it themselves. Like, how do they think it would work? Like, I feel like that would be a fun adventure for me too, if that's what I'm looking for. Like, because I love the fantasy itself. Like, the technical descriptions are great, but I don't know. I like the idea of imagining things myself.
They're great, and to me they're not boring because I actually had to read them to make sure that, you know, a speeder can go a certain way, or a ship can go from there to there, and how do we make it go? So, I have found my saving with hyperspace travel. So they engage the hyperspace, and then the autopilot comes on, and my character can do whatever they want. The reader doesn't need to know every single button they pushed. It doesn't need to know, every single reading on the board. They don't need to know that. But what they do like to know is what's going on inside that character's mind, or what they're doing, or that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm focusing on, the character's journey, not the machines that are helping her get there.
Yeah, we can fill that in our own minds too if we want to. Like, I like that.
Again, I like to build these worlds that they go to, so they're not like Earth. You will notice they have like orange skies or green sky, or they're different. They're not earthly. They don't look like Earth. Some they do, some they don't.
Cool. I like that. And I think this might kind of bleed over into this next question. It's talking about genres a little more again. So I'm going to say a hello to April Willis. She would like to pass along a hello to you as one of your readers. She's read all your books and she's reviewed all your books. And it's very nice to meet her in the book club this month. And she was also classifying it as a space opera genre. And so it got me thinking, I don't know if I've ever really heard that genre term before, and I'm seeing it pop up a lot with your work. So what actually goes into something being called a space opera?
It doesn't take place on Earth.
Oh, okay.
So it involves space. So
Okay.
that makes it space opera. Can be science fiction and take place on Earth. So they are science fiction books that are based, they're actually in the book, it's placed on Earth. But if it's a space opera, it cannot be on Earth. So that's where it comes from.
Oh, so that's nice and simple. I didn't know if there were a ton of like elements that went into making that genre.
No, usually when people hear science fiction, they automatically think ships and all that boring stuff, but that's not it. It can be science fiction based on Earth. If it's off-world, then it becomes a space opera because it's in space. And in every single one of my books, there is some sort of space travel. My characters don't stay put in one place.
I like that.
I make them go everywhere.
That's so fun. Oh, I can't wait.
They have everywhere they can.
I love it. I love it. And while we're talking about April Willis, she asked me to ask you about your swimming pool.
It's great. And I've been using it finally. Well, last year we bought a home, and we signed the closing in February. We moved here in beginning of April, and May the 4th, they start excavating for the pool. So in my private group where April is, I kept posting photos, and with every single little, how the construction went, every stage, I put pictures, and we were discussing it. And finally, in December was ready. So it was too cold to go into the pool.
Oh no, hopefully you get to use it a lot this summer.
I already started. The day before Easter, we went in the pool the first time, and I kept going since. I mean, you can see I already have a little bit of a color on me, but not yesterday and today, because yesterday when I did my hair, covered all my grays so nobody sees them. And I didn't want to mess up my hair, so I didn't go in the pool. But I might go in tonight because they're like 90 degrees.
Nice.
89.
Yeah, we keep getting warm days here. I'm in New York, and then all of a sudden it'll still snow, and we're like, okay, I give up. It's not summer yet. It's not spring. It's still trying to be spring. So that's really cool. And congratulations. It sounds like your house is still pretty new.
Thank you. Yes, it's brand new from the builder. I mean, there's still construction in the area. It's a new development, a new subdivision. And next door, I have 20 lots. They just started to build on them. So now it's construction like right next door. It's gonna be dusty and crazy around here for another maybe year or two until they finish with the subdivision, and then it should be pretty nice. It is very nice. It is nice.
That's great. Does it affect where you go into the pool? Is that like all the dust and the construction, or?
Uh, no, the pool actually, I have that little waterfall, and it has all the recirculating and the self-cleaning of the water, and it's saltwater pool. So it does a pretty good job, and we have the lanai enclosure, so that holds off some.
Oh, okay.
So that screen cage around the pool, so that holds off some of the dirt and stuff. It is dust, but just, I guess, it's dust everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I just been holding back for the past 2 days, yesterday and today, because I didn't want to mess up my hair. I wanted to look pretty for today.
Your hair looks fabulous.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We have another question. Bonnie Jean Yepsen-Weinman, who has read your book already in one day. She's on to the prequel now, I believe. She is wondering how you get the ideas for your fabulous stories. Is it from dreams, singing in the shower?
I'm a terrible singer. I don't sing in the shower. I'm very quiet. I might dance. I'm good at that, but I'm a terrible singer. You don't want to hear me sing, not even in the shower. Where do I get the ideas? Pretty much everywhere. And all of my life, I dealt with the weirdest dreams you can imagine. So pretty much every single book I wrote, it has at least one dream in it, incorporated, modified to make it fit. Like, for instance, in Kalina's book, the book that comes right after Charisse in the series, there is a scene with some floating platforms. And I dreamt one night that I inherited a home, and I went to visit it. And it was inside a mall. And in this mall, it was more like a store, but it had rooms and stuff in it. And I go, well, I turned to the person that was showing me my inheritance, and I was like, okay, it's all great, but is there a restroom? I need to go use the bathroom. And she goes, oh, the bathroom is outside. You go up the stairs to the next floor up. I go, no, that's weird. What kind of home doesn't have a bathroom? But we step out into this huge mall, and the stairs, they're right in the middle, but they don't touch the ground. All around it is this huge pond full with water and fountains, and beautiful. How do I get to the stairs? She goes, oh, you step on these platforms and they take you to the stairs. So there were these square stone platforms that you step on them, and they lift up and they kind of glide you wherever you wanted to go. So I hop on one of them in my dream, and it wobbled. I almost fell over, but I made it to the stairs, jump on the first stair, and then I wake up. Well, I had to go to the bathroom. So that was the dream that inspired this one scene in this book, and that's a pretty long scene. It's about 2.5 chapters long. So that is one example.
Wow, I am fascinated by this. Like, I love the whole, logging and interpreting dreams, or just the fact that it sounds like you remember them so vividly too. Not everybody can wake up and actually even remember what they dreamed.
I do, and I'll tell you my secret. Even when I get ideas in my head, people think, oh, I gotta write it down so I won't forget it. Instead of writing it down, what I do is elaborate on it. Because if I start adding details and doing things to that little idea or dream or anything, then it's gonna stay to my mind because I've already processed it.
Ah.
So as soon as I woke up and I go, oh, they're doing those platforms. Oh, I know where I can do it, what I can do with it. and he's gonna do this, and they won't be able to use it. But how do I put them both on the same platform? Because that was crucial. They had to be both on the same platform. I'll make it that only the energy user can make those platforms move. The non-energy users can't do a thing. That platform will just sit there. It's not gonna take them anywhere. So adding these details, it made it stuck to my mind, and then I could use it later
That's
on.
so cool.
Then other than that, things that I hear, you know, a simple word or an expression, a sentence, it can generate a whole book for me. I'll give you an example. I'm working currently on a new series, a 6 to 7 book series, which there'll be like a full-length novel, like over 80,000 words. And it's all, again, kind of the same thing. And I had this line in my head that I really wanted to use. And the line is, are you asking me to ride you? So I go, okay, how can I make this work? How can my main character, my heroine, can ride an animal? Okay, it's gotta be pretty big, but I don't want it to be a horse or a bull or something like that. It's gotta be something wackier than that. And I go, shifters. All right, we'll make it a shifter. What kind of shifter? So I came up with the whole world and the whole scenario and the whole thing, only from that one sentence, that question, that I wanted to build the book on it.
Wow.
I used to live in Toronto for almost 14 years. I lived in Toronto. And in the winter, you live in New York. So you know those wintry howling winds at night?
Yeah.
Where it doesn't matter how warm you are inside, you hear those winds and you're getting cold. I wanted that in a book. So I created a frozen world where the cities, the world is so cold and it's so impossible to live on it, that they had to build the cities suspended on islands that they're rotating around the planet. The planet being frozen in place, it doesn't move, so they don't have day and night on the surface of the planet. So building those cities on suspended islands, they're rotating around the planet and gives them the day and night cycle. And from space, they look like a string of pearls around the planet. So they're rotating, but at night when my character, goes to sleep and she hears these winds, and I just wanted that feeling in a book. So simple things like that would generate all kinds of storms in my head.
I love this. I find myself wanting to ask you about like the details of just every piece of your book. Like I would be fascinated reading a book by you, just like telling us how you came up with the certain ideas like this, like and expanded. I'm fascinated. Like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Okay, I'll tell you about the one with the shifters. That is a world called, it was a commercial on TV with those guys at Sonic, those two silly guys that they were making jokes at Sonic.
Yeah.
One of them goes, this is out of this world. And they start saying, I don't know what planets. And then he goes, Florida. And the other guy goes, that's not out of this world, that's a state. He goes, oh yeah, might as well be another world. So I go, okay, a world named Florida. I go, nah, that's not cool. So I took the F out. So the world in my book, it's called Florida.
Ooh, I love how much that changes it too, actually.
And they're the only producer in the galaxy that they produce these energy crystals that they can power up cities, ships, everything. Instead of electricity or any other source of power, they have these crystals. But those crystals need to be grown and energized. And the way they do it is those shifters. So they're a humanoid species. They look like humans, maybe a little bit like a head taller or something, but they're still humanoid, but they're purple. Their skin is purple. They have no chlorophyll on Florida. So all the vegetation it's also purple. So imagine all the trees, all the grass, all the bushes, they're all purple. And the people are also purple because they blend in. And when they're shifted, they need to do that. So they borrow the energy from their planet to shift, and they shift into this Sabertooth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
But they're huge, like a ton each. So from a normal 200-pound person, they grow to be a ton of Sabertooth. And they're all purple again. The males have the mane like a lion around their head, but their body, the pelt, it's striped like a tiger. The females, the way you tell them apart, they have spots like the leopards. But they're all different markings that they have on, and different shades of purple, from lavender to violet to indigo to, everything. So I created all that because I wanted to use, are you telling me to ride you? Because he offers to take her somewhere fast, and it would be a lot faster if she hopped on his back and he would be shifted and, serve as a mount to take her wherever she wanted to go. So, but that was the beginning of their flirting.
This is blowing my mind. Like, I love hearing the connections and just how much you add to everything. Like you observe and you flip it and you have fun with it. And I mean, I can tell your passion coming from it. And I want to read all of this. I've got to start reading faster this month because this is just amazing. I'm loving hearing where your ideas come from and how you make them. Wow, that was awesome. Great question, Bonnie. I loved hearing all of this answer. So chatting on on our Facebook group page, she was wondering about the voice that's heard in the beginning of Charisse Tarren and the Black Pendant. So I know that might be a little bit, if it's not answered in book 1, talking about it might be a little bit of a spoiler. So what can you tell us without spoilers?
It is answered in the book, actually.
Okay.
You will find out later who the voice is. It's always about the conflict between good and evil. And you will discover there's a lot of evil, even after death, because there are 2 evil spirits trying to come back.
Ooh.
So those 2, they're conflicting bad spirits, and they're trying to use Charisse. You will find out later on. I don't want to give any spoilers.
Yeah, I don't want to bring spoilers, but just to kind of get that hint of what we're looking for. So that's
Right,
interesting. Okay.
It does get answered to it. And also you will find out about the silver hair, about their family mark, and what they're destined for, their family. Because this mark that they have, it doesn't necessarily show on all of their family members, but it is carried by all of them. So it might skip generations, and then all of a sudden somebody with silver hair would be born in their family. And where did that came from? They've been carrying that mark throughout time, generation to generation.
Oh, neat. I love that. Yeah, I love the series, like seeing what gets answered in one book and then what you're still excited to find in the next.
Every single one of these books in this series, they can be read as standalones. They're each, like I said, has a couple as main focus, and their story gets told. It's got a beginning and it's got an end. But if you're reading the whole series, especially if you're reading it in order, you get so much from it because it's the overarching story of their family. It's a family saga. They're all members of the same family. And each of them has their own trials. They each have, like this one is a master apprentice kind of relationship. This one is the Jedi Sith story. Then we have Kalina, which I usually don't say this, but I think she's my favorite.
Uh-oh. It's like picking a favorite child, right? Like
favorite child. And that's probably because she's my wannabe alter ego. Imagine the sassiest, snarkiest smuggler you could ever find, like a Han Solo, feminine version of a Han Solo, but like on steroids. She's like so sassy and so snarky, and so she's such a strong female character, and she's so funny. So this is like the funniest book in the series, and this is a true enemies to lovers trope. Then we have her daughter, Adania, which has got the same personality as the mother, and she goes off too. Love her too as well. She's the Beauty and the Beast one. And then we have the Thane, which he's more of a friends to lovers kind of guy. There's a lot of misunderstanding and slavery involved, and you'll see when you get there.
Yes.
And this is kind of a second chance, a single dad second chance, Radix, the sexy guy. So they all have very individual personalities. They all have very different stories one from another. So they're not too alike. Each of the books would perfectly make sense on their own. But again, you get so much more when you read them in order. Again, the prequel doesn't count. You can read it before or after. If you read it before, some people will have questions that they feel they left unanswered, like the inquiring minds. They go, well, why did you say that? And what happened after that? And I go, yeah, it gets answered in the next book. Read that one and you'll find out, you know. But if you read the whole series and leave the prequel out of order where we did last, you'll have like, aha, that's what it is. That's where it comes from. So you'll have a lot of aha moments when you read it after the others. But I would recommend reading it first, but it's up to you. It doesn't hurt either way. It doesn't hurt either way.
I like the way that you have that set up where it can be kind of up to the reader to see how, you know, it ties into their experience with reading it. So that's really cool. The way your whole series ties together but standalone. I think that's fantastic. You have a giveaway you're offering for, I believe, a signed paperback from the series that we're reading, A Family Legacy. So did you want to mention how members can enter for that and when the deadline is?
Well, the deadline, I believe, should be the end of the month when the event is over. Just follow me everywhere you can. I think you already posted my links. If you want to join my private group, you're more than welcome. I think I gave you the link for that too, Iuliana's Escape Room, because that's where you escape reality and we have fun. Other than that, you don't really have to do any magic tricks to get into the draw. Just be active. Let me know you've been reading. I know that you had her posting like almost every day with a little progress, with questions, with all that sort of stuff. Just be active on that, and we'll pick a random winner at the end.
Yay!
Any of the books, so you can choose any of them that you want. If let's say you have more time and you read in you know the electronic versions of all of them, you must have a favorite at some point. So just let me know which one it is and I'll send it to her. You read 2 or 3 and you want the next one in paperback, just let me know which one and I'll send them to you.
Well, thank you so much for offering this to our members. I'm so excited for everyone to participate and see whose name.
I'll throw in some swag too.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. All right, members, follow. I will include all of the links in this description and I'll repost them in Facebook again too so that people can find you.